Hey, coin lovers! Imagine you're walking down the street and you find a penny. Not just any penny, but a 1967 Lincoln 1-cent penny. You know, that little copper circle that's been with us for decades. But plot twist! This little guy is worth a whopping $1.7 million. Yep, you heard me right. A freaking $1 million penny. I know, mind-blowing, right? So, how does something that's so small end up being so valuable? Well, you're in the right place because today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny and why it could have you sitting on a gold mine. Grab your magnifying glasses because this story is about to get really interesting. Alright, first things first, let's talk about what makes this penny so special. The 1967 Lincoln penny is a regular penny you've probably seen a million times. Except for one little thing, it doesn't have a mint mark. And if you don't know what a mint mark is, no worries, I've got you covered. Mint marks are those little letters stamped on coins to show where they were made. Like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But the 1967 no mint mark penny? Well, that's a rare gem because it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. For some weird reason, these pennies were accidentally minted without the usual D or S mark. And that's where the value comes in. So, why does a simple mint error make it so valuable? Well, mint errors like these are rarer than a unicorn riding a rainbow. In the world of coin collecting, finding a mistake can be a game changer. It's like finding that one missing piece to your favorite puzzle, except the missing piece is worth $1 million. Now, tell me, who doesn't want to find $1 million piece of anything lying around? Quick personal story time. I remember one time I was cleaning out my childhood coin collection. Don't judge me, we all have that box of random stuff in the attic, and I found a genuine 1964 penny. I was like, well, this is cool, but it's not going to make me rich. But guess what? It had a weird little groove on the side. Long story short, I sent it in to get evaluated, and while it didn't turn into a fortune, I was on edge for weeks just hoping it would. The moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of an error coin, especially when it's something like the 1967 no mint mark penny. Now, back to the facts. What makes this penny so valuable is the scarcity. See, these were only produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and most of them ended up being properly marked with a mint mark, leaving the few without that stamp in high demand. As coin collectors, we know the rule: the rarer, the better. You might be asking, okay, but how do I know if I have a 1967 penny that's worth a fortune? Great question. Here's how to check. Look closely at the reverse of your penny, right under Abraham Lincoln's memorial. No mint mark? Congratulations, you might have struck gold, or at least the first step to it. But not all of these are worth $1.7 million. The coin's condition plays a huge role in its price. We're talking about a mint state coin, so a shiny, flawless penny with no wear and tear. I know it sounds a bit complicated, but hey, it's worth a shot. Grab your magnifier and start inspecting. And here's another fun fact. These coins are so valuable because collectors love a good challenge. The thrill of finding a coin that shouldn't exist? That's like the plot twist in a movie you didn't see coming. It's why coin enthusiasts are willing to pay top dollar for rare errors. It's not just about the money. It's about owning a piece of history, like owning a tiny relic of a time when minting errors could change your life. Pretty cool, huh? So let's recap. A 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth up to $1.7 million, but it's gotta be in perfect condition. Check your pennies, folks. You might just have the find of a lifetime sitting in your pocket right now. If you're like me and enjoy the idea of turning random objects into a small fortune, or at least learning about them, hit that subscribe button and join the crew. We've got more tips and strategies to help you uncover coins worth some serious cash, and who knows? Your next coin could be the one that makes you rich. But hey, even if you don't find $1 million penny today, you're still a winner in my book. So go ahead, subscribe for more tips, tricks, and tons of coin-related fun. And remember, keep your eyes peeled. The next great find could be right under your nose. Catch you in the next video! 1972 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. worth a jaw-dropping $1.80 million. So grab that coffee, lean in close, and let's get into the wild world of rare coins and their insane value. Alright, before you rush to your junk drawer, let me break this down for you. The 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is no ordinary coin. You see, most pennies are stamped with a mint mark, either D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But some of these little guys? They were produced without a mint mark at all. And let me tell you, when that happens, you've got something potentially worth millions. So what makes the 1972 no-mint mark penny so special? It all comes down to a minting error. A pretty rare one, if I'm being honest. This coin was made at the Philadelphia Mint, but for whatever reason, they forgot to stamp the mint mark. Now, I'm no expert, but forgetting to add a tiny letter that could literally be the difference between $1 and $1.8 million sounds like something a distracted worker might do when they're trying to get out of the office for lunch. Maybe he was thinking about pizza. Who knows? But here's the thing. This error isn't just some tiny little blip in the coin world. Collectors absolutely freak out over missing mint marks. And when it comes to the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, it's one of the most highly sought-after errors in the market. Because these mistakes weren't just a one-time thing. They're like finding a needle in a haystack. Now, let's talk numbers. If you stumble upon one of these bad boys, depending on its condition, you could be looking at a market value of $1.8 million. That's not a typo. If your 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is in excellent shape, especially if it's graded well, you could find yourself sitting on a small fortune. We're talking about a coin worth more than a fancy car, a down payment on a house, or heck, probably even a year's worth of avocado toast at brunch. A personal story. Don't miss the signs. Let me tell you a little personal story. A few years back, I went through a phase of coin hunting. Yeah, that's a thing. I know, I'm a bit of a nerd. I was looking through change at the grocery store when I noticed a penny that just didn't look quite right. I had no idea what I was looking at, but I thought, hey, it looks a little off. Maybe I should keep it. So I tossed it in my special coin jar and forgot about it for a while. Fast forward a few months, and I'm chatting with a friend who's really into rare coins. I pull out that penny, and after giving it a quick once-over, he practically freaked out. Dude, that's a 1972 no-mint mark penny! That could be worth a lot of money! Now, I didn't exactly find $1.8 million in that jar, sadly, but the lesson was clear. Always keep an eye out for those coins that just don't look right. It's like that hidden treasure you never know is there until you really look. So, you never know when you could be holding something valuable. So, now that you know about this amazing coin and why it's worth a whopping $1.8 million, let me ask you, what's in your pocket right now? No, seriously. Go ahead, grab your change, check out the pennies, the nickels, and even those rusty old dimes. You could be sitting on something worth more than you think. Heck, maybe you've got a mint error hiding in plain sight, and while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe for more tips and strategies on how to find coins that could make you millions. We've got plenty more tips coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss out on any of them. So, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and leave a comment below if you've ever found a coin that made you do a double take. Who knows, your next $1 million find could be just around the corner. 1981 penny of all things could be worth $1.1 million? Money mouth face, yes, you heard that right. That penny you might have tossed aside while digging through your pocket change or found in the parking lot last week could potentially make you a millionaire. So buckle up, grab a snack, and let's dive into why this tiny coin is worth way more than what meets the eye. Alright, let's set the stage. In 1981, the US Mint was cranking out billions of pennies. Nothing super exciting, right? A coin with a rich history, sure, but not exactly a showstopper in terms of value. Well, unless you're talking about a really rare find, of course. The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is one of those rare exceptions. Most pennies you see are stamped with a mint mark, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But some pennies, like the 1981 no-mint mark, were produced in Philadelphia and, for whatever reason, didn't get that little P stamp that says, "Hey, I'm from Philly." That tiny oversight created a rare error and set the stage for what we see today. This penny is worth over $1.1 million. Face screaming if you're so, why does this matter? Well, here's where it gets interesting. When coins don't have their expected mint marks, it can create a serious buzz in the numismatic community. Coin collectors love rare and unusual items, and this particular penny is like the Bigfoot of the coin world. You hear about it, but finding one in the wild? Almost impossible. In 1981, the US Mint was churning out tons of coins. The oversight of a missing mint mark? Total fluke. But as it turns out, flukes make for some of the best collectible coins out there. And no one knew it at the time, but years later coin enthusiasts would pay a fortune for this seemingly unremarkable penny. Now, you might be wondering, okay, how do I know if I've got one of these pennies hanging out in my change jar? Well, I've got you covered. It's all about that missing mint mark. If you've got a 1981 penny and there's no D or S stamped on the front, then congratulations, you might have $1 million mistake on your hands. Magnifying glass still to left, but here's the kicker. It's not just any 1981 penny that's worth $1.1 million. The condition of the coin is key. Just like anything valuable, the better the condition, the more it's worth. If your 1981 penny is in mint condition, like shiny and new, it's going to be worth a lot more than one that's been tossed around in your pocket for decades. And while a 1981 penny might not win any beauty contests, its rarity can still command top dollar. Now, let me share a funny story from my own life. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my garage and found a giant jar of change. You know the one, that jar that's always just sitting there, gathering dust and random stuff like old tickets and receipts? Well, I dumped it out on my kitchen table, sifting through the coins like a treasure hunter. And guess what I found? A bunch of old pennies, most of which weren't worth anything, but there was one that stood out. Yup, you guessed it, an old 1981 penny with no mint mark. And no, it wasn't worth $1 million, unfortunately, but it was still a pretty cool find. The point is, you never know when you're going to find something valuable, so don't overlook that loose change. If you've got a 1981 penny with no mint mark, it could be worth $1.1 million, but only if it's in great shape. Always check your coins before tossing them into a jar or a vending machine. You never know, you might be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. And hey, if you're like me and have a habit of collecting random coins, it's always good to double-check before you let go of that loose change. Because anything is possible in the world of coin collecting, right? If you enjoyed today's video and want more tips on coins worth big money, smash that like button, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more coin treasure hunting strategies. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what we've got coming up next. 1993 D Lincoln penny. Nothing too fancy, right? It's just a penny, or is it? What if I told you that very coin could be worth, wait for it, $1.3 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single penny. And no, this isn't a joke. I mean, how many of us have tossed these little guys aside without a second thought? Well, today we're diving deep into why that 1993 D penny could make you a millionaire. Stick around, because this might just change the way you look at pocket change forever. Okay, let's break it down. Why on earth would a 1993 D penny, which is technically just another piece of change you might find lying around, be worth $1.3 million? Well, it all starts with something called a minting error. And no, I'm not talking about the oops, I dropped it kind of error. This is a rare, accidental mistake that happens at the minting process, and when it does, boom, value skyrockets. Now, for all you newbies in the coin world, here's the scoop. The 1993 D penny was minted at the Denver Mint, which is where the D comes from. But here's the twist. There are some of these coins out there with a subtle, yet critical error. If you happen to have one of these, you're sitting on a small treasure chest. We're talking about a double die reverse error. And if you're wondering, no, I didn't just make that term up. A double die reverse error is when the coin is struck twice during the minting process, causing the design to appear doubled, like a blurry photograph. This type of mistake happens very rarely, but when it does, it can lead to some seriously inflated values. Now, imagine finding one of these rarities in your pocket. You'd probably think it was just a worn-out coin, but trust me, if you spot the telltale signs of that double die, you might just be holding on to something worth a lot more than its face value. But here's the kicker: these pennies don't always just sit around in circulation. Oh no, some of them end up in collector hands or even at auctions. And when they do, the value can get pretty insane. The most notable sale of a 1993 D double die penny? That little guy fetched $1.3 million at auction. Crazy, right? It's like winning the coin lottery. Personally, I remember going through a jar of pennies I found in my attic, just tossing them around like they were worth nothing. Well, guess who missed out on a small fortune? Yep, yours truly. So, let me give you some tips to help you spot these valuable mistakes before they slip through your fingers. First off, look at the date. If it's a 1993 D, you're already in the right ballpark. Next, check out the lettering and numbers on the reverse side. The error appears most clearly on the words E pluribus unum and United States of America. If they look a little, well, blurry or doubled up, then you've got yourself a winner. Now, keep in mind, not every 1993 D penny is going to be worth this much. Only the ones with that rare minting error have the big bucks potential. So if you find one, you might want to get it professionally graded. You don't want to miss out on those million-dollar opportunities just because you didn't get it checked out. Alright, let's recap. That 1993 D penny could be worth $1.3 million if it has that double die reverse error. You'll need to look for double text on the reverse and have it graded by a professional if you think it's the real deal. Easy, right? Not so fast. Finding one of these is like searching for a needle in a haystack, but that's why we're here, folks. To help you spot the needles. So, the next time you're flipping through your change jar or rummaging around in your coin collection, don't just assume those pennies are worthless. You could be holding on to a tiny gold mine. I can't tell you how many times I've wished I had paid more attention to my old coins. But now that I know what to look for, I'm ready to dive into the coin world headfirst. Okay, before you go running to check your pennies, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you want more tips on how to turn pocket change into life-changing cash, I've got you covered. And trust me, there's more where that came from. Subscribe, like, and leave me a comment if you've ever found any coins worth big bucks. I'd love to hear your stories. 2017 D Lincoln 1-cent penny. But I know what you're thinking, 2017? Isn't that a little too recent for this kind of thing? Well, hang on to your wallets, because this penny is not just a regular, everyday piece of change. There's a special twist here. First off, this penny was minted at the Denver Mint. You'll spot the D on the back, right below the date. But what makes it valuable? It's got an error, a unique one at that gives it its rare value. You see, not all 2017 D pennies are worth a fortune. Most of them are worth just 1 cent, as you might expect. But a very small number of them slip through the cracks with some serious imperfections. We're talking about a minting error that makes these pennies exceptionally rare. These errors typically happen in the production process. Something's off with the die, and boom, you've got a penny that's more than just a penny. But here's the kicker: this is where the market gets exciting. You see, only a handful of these error pennies have been discovered. Think of it like finding a golden ticket, except instead of Willy Wonka, you're dealing with the US Mint. So, if you've got one of these rare 2017 D Lincoln pennies with the error, it's worth up to $1.7 million today. And that, my friends, is not a typo. Now, before you rush to dig through every jar of pennies you have at home, don't get too excited. These error pennies don't just pop up every day. In fact, most 2017 D pennies are still, well, just pennies. But that's why knowing what to look for is key. So, what exactly are we looking for here? Let me break it down for you. Now, to identify these rare gems, you need to examine the lettering and the details on the coin. If the text on the coin seems off, like blurry or doubled, that's your clue. The minting error is typically related to a problem with the die used in the process. This causes some of the text to be misprinted or appear doubled in spots, which is exactly what collectors are hunting for. Now, it's not as easy as flipping through a handful of pennies. If you're serious about finding one of these, you're going to need a good eye and a little patience. Think of it like a treasure hunt, but without the pirates, or, well, with way less rum. But hey, you might strike gold. Speaking of treasure hunts, let me tell you about a time I got caught up in the excitement of finding valuable coins. A few years ago, I was going through a box of pennies my granddad left me. Now, I thought it was just a box of junk, right? But there I was, looking for something interesting to talk about on the channel, and bam! I found a coin with a slight error. It wasn't $1 million find, but it was enough to get me hooked. I couldn't believe that a coin that seemed so ordinary could turn into something so special. And trust me, that feeling when you realize you've found a gem? Priceless. So if you do find one of these 2017 D-era pennies, just know you're not alone in the excitement. You've got a coin community cheering you on. So, now you know the deal. The 2017 D Lincoln 1-cent penny can be worth up to $1.7 million if you find the right era version of it. If you're out there digging through your pennies, just remember to keep your eyes peeled for those little signs of a minting error. And who knows? You might just find the golden ticket, or should I say, the golden penny, hidden in your change drawer. But don't just stop there. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on how to find coins worth serious money, make sure you're subscribed. I'll be sharing tons of info about coins, their hidden values, and how you can turn some pocket change into a potential fortune. Drop a comment below if you've ever found an interesting coin, and let's talk about it. And hey, if you're feeling lucky, go ahead and smash that like button. 2019 No Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. Sounds pretty standard, right? You've probably seen one floating around, or maybe you've got a couple in your coin jar. But what if I told you that this ordinary-looking coin could turn you into a millionaire? Well, that's what's happening with the 2019 No Mint Mark Lincoln penny. And no, it's not magic, just a good old case of rare coin luck. Now, let's break this down. Normally, you wouldn't bat an eye at a penny. It's small, it's copper-colored, and it's usually tucked away at the bottom of your pocket or jar. But here's the twist. This 2019 penny doesn't have a mint mark. You know how most coins will have a tiny letter, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, near the date? Well, the 2019 no mint mark pennies are a little mystery. They were struck in Philadelphia, but for some reason they didn't get that mint mark. And that little missing detail is exactly what makes it worth a whopping $1.9 million. Yep, you heard me right. Asterisk, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're just doing your thing, sipping coffee, scrolling through your phone, maybe cleaning out your junk drawer, you know, the one that's filled with everything from paper clips to those old concert ticket stubs you swear you'll frame one day. You stumble across a random penny, and as you pick it up, you notice the date, 2019. You give it a casual glance, like most people would, and you're about to toss it into your change jar when you remember something. Wait, didn't I hear something about a 2019 penny being valuable? So, you start to Google it, and bam! Turns out this little copper coin that you were ready to discard could be worth nearly $2 million. No joke. Talk about a penny for your thoughts, am I right? But what makes this 2019 penny so special, you ask? Well, the truth is, it's all about the rarity. Mint marks are there to tell us where a coin was made. And in the case of this 2019 penny, the lack of a mint mark created a situation where fewer of these coins were produced, and they ended up becoming highly sought after by collectors. It's like that one pair of jeans everyone wanted back in the day because they were limited edition, and no one could find them. Same idea, just with pennies instead of jeans. Asterisk, and the crazy thing is, most people don't even realize they have this valuable coin. We're talking about a minting error that might seem insignificant to the untrained eye, but to coin collectors? It's like gold. Or should I say, copper? But this is more than just a lucky find. It's about understanding what makes a coin rare and how collectors get their hands on these valuable pieces. When I first heard about this penny, I couldn't believe it either. I remember a few years ago, I found an old coin in my dad's drawer, an old 1960s dime, and thought, oh cool, this might be worth a couple of bucks. But when I did some research, I realized it was actually worth hundreds, and I felt like I had just found a hidden treasure in my own home. So I get it. Discovering a rare coin is like finding a small fortune where you least expect it. So, now that you know about the 2019 no mint Mark Lincoln penny, you're probably itching to check your change jar or dig through that old coin collection, right? Don't worry, I would be too. But before you go hunting for that lucky penny, just remember, the key to making money with rare coins is knowing what to look for and staying informed. The coin world is full of surprises, and you never know when you'll stumble upon the next $1 million penny. And hey, if you've enjoyed this little journey into rare coin territory and want to stay updated on more coins worth big bucks, then you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and join me as we explore the world of rare coins. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on all the tips and strategies that could turn your pocket change into serious cash. And as always, leave a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you're just as excited as I am about the 2019 no mint Mark penny. Catch you next time.